I think I have a story that's probably not unusual for USAA. They abuse you and treat you horribly, hoping to push you into the cracks so you won't say anything. But I don't go away quietly. And you know what? I treat everybody fairly, but I'm tired of being screwed, glued, and tattooed by a company we trusted for over 40 years. We've had that company since my husband was 15 years old. So we've had them 45 years since I've been married to Tim. We had a water line break in our home, and we've been insured with them, paid our premiums, never missed a payment. Called them up, told them what happened. They sent us out a restoration team called Paul Davis and Associates out of Nixa, Missouri. Now, these people show up, they start ripping our walls open, tearing down our ceiling, putting big fans and things to dry up our house, ripping out our drywall. And that's pretty much where it ended. They sent this company in after our house dried up and told us that they would be responsible for getting everything back to like it was. We said, great, we thought we were in good hands. Well, those people came in, they took our toilet out of our lower level of our house, put it in the middle of our family room, and then the guys proceeded to go to the bathroom in it. It wasn't even connected. We were gone. They told us, go get a place to stay, and they would pay for that. Well, they didn't want to give us a place close to our home, so we had to drive 120 miles round trip to get to our home every day. So we ended up going down to Texas to stay for a while they worked on our house, and we came back every weekend. When we got there, that's how we knew they had used the bathroom in an unhooked up toilet, because we walked in the house and the smell was just unbelievable. And I thought, my gosh, what has somebody done? My husband went downstairs and found that they had done 1 and 2 in our toilet multiple times, and it was filled up, and he carried it outside to get rid of it. And we called USAA up, and they just said, well, it's just an unfortunate thing. Don't worry about it. Well, this proceeded to go on with many other things. When the crew came in to work on our house, they started going through our things. And their team, this Sean Osterich from Paul Davis and Associates, would point at things in our house. And he said, can I have this? Can I have that? And I said, wait a minute. This is not a flea market. I'm not selling my stuff. Well, I'd like to have that. And I said, well, you can't have it. Those are our belongings. And so we got a little bit leery. So we started coming more and more to our house every day and watching. Well, after a couple weeks, they called us up and they told us, and they hadn't done anything really. We started doing the demo because they were tearing up our house and getting into things they didn't need to be getting into. After a couple weeks, they called us up, and this guy named Weber told us that we need to drive up to Nixa, Missouri, which was about 75 miles from our home, and sign the USAA check to them. We said, well, we haven't gotten the check yet. And he goes, oh, no, we got the check. Which, first of all, we're supposed to get the check, not the contractor. Well, USAA would not send a representative out to our house, an adjuster, to look at the damage. They said we lived too far out in the country. But yet, they didn't have a problem accepting our checks every single month for 40-some years. So we begged, and we begged, and we begged, and nobody would come out. And then they told us, well, Paul Davis and Associates are the ones that will be taking care of this claim. They're our main people. So when they called us up, they told us to come up to Nixa to sign the check. My husband and I were pretty upset anyway from using our toilet that wasn't hooked up in our house and making our house smell like a sewer. And we noticed things were disappearing and things were missing. And when we got up there and he wanted us to sign the check, I said, let me see that check. And he showed it to me, and I picked it up and I put it in my purse. I said, we're not signing this check. And he says, oh, Mr. Bell, you're a captain. They'll write a check for anything. You just tell us what you want us to do, and we'll do it to your house. And I said, that's illegal. We are not doing that. I said, we have been with this insurance company for 40-some years. You guys should go to prison. This is criminal. And they said, oh, they do it all the time. So what I did was we got angry and we left with the check in my purse. We got home. We called USAA to tell them what was going on. We talked to a Gary Razzo. Gary Razzo was one of their main adjusters on this thing. He said, "Oh, we're going to fire them. That's not the way to act." I said, "Look, we're being good stewards of your money. And we're making sure this does not happen to other people because these guys are criminals." So come to find out, they never fired them. They didn't do anything with them whatsoever. And when the crew they sent packed up our house, they packed up our stuff and brought 2 pods to our backyard. They put the wet furniture in with the dry goods. So, of course, sitting for 8 months plus in our backyard in Shellmount, Missouri, everything that was nice and still not damaged became a moldy, slimy, black mold mess. It just grew all kinds of fungus and turned black and slimy. And when we called USAA about it, "Oh, don't worry about it, we'll make it right." Well, they never made it right. And when the company finally got out of there, because I fired them, and we started doing the demolition ourselves and taking care of things because they were tearing up our house. When they brought our stuff back to our home, it was infested with baby snakes and chipmunks. The boxes had been chewed open and they were full of snakes and chipmunks. And they put this out in our house. And Tim and I are, watching the stuff come in, marking it off. Our rugs were missing. Boxes that we knew we had were missing. Things were broken. And then I see snakes coming out of a box. And I thought, "Oh my God, we have snakes coming out of these boxes." So Tim's killing snakes and chipmunks. And we called USAA up and I said, "Look, our stuff is infested with snakes and chipmunks. What is going on?" They basically washed their hands of us, wouldn't talk to us anymore. And I said, "Our furniture is moldy. I've got pictures of it." Then I got this Gary Russo on the phone. He told us, "Well, just get rid of it and we'll pay for it. Go down and find a store where you got it, like furniture, send us the receipts." So we went down there and I thought, I know better. USAA is acting real weird about this. So I went in and I talked to a guy named Chris at Brashear's Furniture in Berryville, Arkansas, which is just down the road from where we lived. We spent a whole day going through like furniture, telling him what we had. He made us up an inventory list, what it would cost to replace. We sent it to USAA. We can't find it, they told us. We sent them another. They lost it. Finally, I sent them another one and all the listings of the things that were broken with photographs. "Oh, well, we're not paying for that. It's been too long." Now, mind you, our claim happened February 27th, 2014. I had been injured seriously in an accident prior to this and had spent almost 2 months in the hospital in a life care facility and was trying to heal. So they wanted me to do more inventorying and stuff, and I couldn't. At that point, I was too sick to do that. So they told me not to worry about it, that they'd make, some allowances for that, which they never did. They've paid us a little bit for our claim. They haven't paid it all. They still owe us a lot of money. We have had the worst experience ever with this criminal company. They told us that we could talk to people. Nobody ever called us back. We never had an adjuster. We never had anything that we should have had as paying customers, long-term, loyal customers with USAA. I think they're the most criminal organization out there. And
well, we had one guy, remember, he was an adjuster that came out.
Right. We had a guy named Gary Darrowsett from Blue Eye, Missouri. He came out for one day because we begged. And he wrote down a few things. He said, "You have major damage." When he went back to the company, they fired him, wouldn't pay him for coming to our house. But he was the only one that ever came. You were right. He did come out, but he was only there for an afternoon. And he said, "We had major damage." He wrote a whole thing up. And then we contacted him when we never heard from him again. He said, "Oh, USAA fired me. They don't like me because I told them how bad your damage was." So that's pretty much where we were. And over the several years, they've called us once in a while, or I'll write them and I'll send them estimates, or we'll get something fixed because we do live out in the country. And just like the sheetrock work, I just sent them a bill for $800 with the listing, the canceled check, everything that we paid for this damage. They refused it. They said, oh, it's been too long. And I said, I don't see anywhere here where it has a time limit on this. You guys are the ones that sent people that were stealing from us. We still have a Persian rug that are missing. We have broken crystal and china all over the place. They never paid for those damages. And mind you, in our contract with them, we are to have coverage. Our beds that hadn't been damaged were put in with things that were wet and turned all of our stuff into mold. So not only did we lose what was damaged in the flood, we lost everything else too. And what we didn't lose, they stole from us. But yet they don't want to take any responsibility whatsoever for this. And it's really disheartening to see a military company that we trusted our money to, our loyalty to, and they turned around and did this. Then every now and then they'd have somebody, a representative for their company call me and we're going to get right back to you. We're going to get this taken care of. Those people always disappeared. We never heard from them again. So here we are sitting here in November 2020, and we still have not been made whole.
And so, all of our rates have gone up on all the stuff that we had. So we pulled everything away except for one vehicle so we can maintain the status with them until we get this fixed.
Yeah, we kept our one car with them just so they couldn't close our account and all those files would be deleted. But we took our homes away from them. We took all our other cars. We have one. And they have raised those rates to astronomical amounts. We haven't had wrecks. We haven't had tickets. I'm 63. Tim is 64. We've been really good in our lifetime and not doing the things that get your rates bumped up. And this is how they treated us. I would tell them to never hire USAA. They don't stand behind their values. They lie to you. They promise you things that never happen. And they're a criminal organization. I would tell them to run. Never use them.
I've already told everyone at work that, because a lot of people where I worked at Lockheed, I just retired recently, they're military, so of course they're USAA, and I've told everybody, and everyone I know has dropped them. I mean, when I'm with them that many years and they don't even honor one thing, and that's ridiculous.
His father was a colonel in the Air Force, and he'd had them for decades.
He never even had a problem with them, and also, of course, my dad stayed with them. And since then he's passed, but he was with them all of his life.
So we're probably going on close to 100 years of being with USAA and our family. And this is how they treated us. And we're livid. I would tell everybody to run from USAA. They still owe us money. They still have not made us whole. Well, probably in out-of-pocket funds, just money-wise, about $12,000. But we figure there's at least $25,000 in damages that they have not reimbursed us for, that we have had to come out of our own pocket. We had to take $38,000 out of our 401k in order to get our house functional again, because they just quit paying. And we had coverage. I don't know who this will reach out to and touch, but I hope it touches a lot of people, because I think I have a story that's probably not unusual for USAA. They abuse you and treat you horribly, hoping to push you into the cracks so you won't say anything. But I don't go away quietly. And you know what? I treat everybody fairly, but I'm tired of being screwed, glued, and tattooed by a company we trusted for over 40 years.
And there's one more thing. When I was a lieutenant in Germany, we had a money market fund through USAA, and all of a sudden they couldn't find it, and they never called us. They never got back. My father-in-law here in the States got with the FBI. The FBI called me in Germany, and all of a sudden we found the account.
Yeah, and there was over $10,000 in that account. If
I would have been in the States at that time, I would have quit them back then.
Yeah, they try to steal your money, and that's one thing they're known for. I've talked to a lot of people since this, and they told us that they have frozen their accounts, seized their bank accounts, done all kinds of things, and they're too scared to come and say anything because they're afraid they'll be blackballed with other insurance companies. I said, no, this is a time you need to voice your opinion. Tell people what happened to you. But you have a money market, and we opened it up as kids. We were like 20, 21 years old when we opened this, and we had just 10,000, but that's a lot of money for young kids back then. And all of a sudden, we wanted to buy a car in Germany. We'd order a car at the Volkswagen dealership. We had it ready to go. We called to get our money, and gee, the money wasn't there anymore. Now, this was a secure money market, not the kind you can lose your principal. This was a market that made you money. It didn't make you a lot, but it was like a savings account. But all of a sudden, it disappeared. And I thought maybe it was just a fluke. But now I'm finding out, no, it's not. This is how they operate. They're a giant corporation, and they steal from their members.
They told us up front, they said, if you have furniture that's damaged, just get rid of it. And we did. We have not been reimbursed for any of it.
Yeah.
We wrote it down. We told them what we got rid of. We
took photographs.
Pictures, nothing.
And it was due to their negligence that we lost everything, because Missouri summers are very, very hot and muggy. You don't take wet furniture and put it with dry furniture, all your towels, all your linens, everything that you have, without it doing some damage. And it sat out there and percolated and baked in that sun and just grew black mold like you would not believe. But we had to fight with them for everything that we got out of them. And they never did make us whole. We had to reach into our own accounts to fix things. And we just got some of the sheetrock work done because we're paying for it. And we sent them the bill, and of course they denied it. But we've really suffered a lot with this company. And I recommend anybody out there, do not use USAA. There's other companies out there that have better rates that will treat you right. But USAA are criminals. They're all criminals, and they will lie to you and not bat an eye. Yes, I have asked to talk to the CEO. I've asked to talk to the reps higher up in the claims department, the claims division. I have written letters. I have taken this as far as I can go, and it falls into deaf ears. Nobody ever calls us back. When they find out it's us, here's what they tell us. Oh, we'll have somebody call you because this is such a lengthy file. You have uploaded so much on our website. And I said, okay, have somebody call us. This happened February 27th, 2014. And to this day, that's never happened. They don't call us back. And there is a file that I have uploaded, and it has hundreds of thousands probably of pages in it showing damages, everything that we've gone through. We've documented everything. And the only reason we keep our one car insured with them is so they can't say, well, since you weren't a member anymore, we were able to delete it. I've kept that for the very reason, because we need to find some legal counsel, and we need to go after these people, because I'm not the only one that suffered. These people are criminals. We need some help. And they're such a big company, it's very hard to find anybody that wants to go after them. But when you check the Better Business Bureau, you will find that they have an F rating. F. So that's something people need to look at. Check the Better Business Bureau. They used to have an A+ rating. Now it's an F, as in Frank. They'd have to pay us for the money that we're out, replace the furniture that we still don't have in our home, and apologize. And they need to do a public apology, because this has gone on since 2014. We have suffered traumatically. And seeing that I was injured and very, very ill at the time, my recovery has been a lot slower because of the stress. And I have really suffered. I mean, I was cut from the breastbone all the way down, side to side, and lived in a life care facility, and they didn't even think I would live. And then I talked to USAA about this when I was compiling all the stuff they wanted me to go through. And I did the very best anybody could ever do being critically ill. But they have caused us undue harm. And they have really caused me a lot of stress, and my husband. This has been hard on us, and it's cost us a lot of our own money that we saved to retire. And we shouldn't have had to spend our money when we have insurance for that. You know, we've never made a claim on a house, ever. And this was our home. And they treated our home like, I don't even know, like a disposable piece of trash. They stole from us. They broke our things. We still are not made whole. We still don't have a lot of the items they stole from us. And when I try to reach them, it falls on deaf ears. Nobody will even contact us.
Even when we were trying to fix the place up, we'd call USAA because if we're working on the house, they said we could have a place to stay. Well, we had a place right up the road, but they wouldn't let us stay there. It had to be a full-blown place, and that was like an hour and a half away.
At $169 a night.
$169 a night. We had stay around town for $50, and we were trying to get them to do that. They wouldn't even move on that.
Yeah.
So it's like, you playing something? Why are you paying $200 or so when you can pay $50 a night and we're right around the corner?
We tried to be very good stewards of their money because
this was listen.
That's right. This was our insurance company. We tried to do everything possible to save them every dollar possible because we thought, they were on the up and up. They were there for us, but they were not there for us. We were nothing to them. We were disposable, and they wanted us to go away. They liked taking our premiums because they didn't have to pay out anything in claims. But once we had a claim, we became disposable. And it's very frustrating. And I'll tell you, one night, they told us that we had 3 nights in this hotel. On the 4th night, I called them up and I said, we need another night because, we've got to get back to Texas, but it was a bad snowstorm. And they said, you can't have another night. We ended up driving to our house in our truck, parking in the backyard and sleeping in our truck, which we didn't sleep because we had to run the heater all night because it was snowing and very cold. And we had accommodations, that rider that's on your policy so that they cover your lodging in case you have an emergency. And we still had many, many months left on it. But they refused to give us another night. And then when I called them and got a hold of them the next morning after we pretty much froze in the truck, very uncomfortable. And women just don't go to the bathroom real well without a toilet. And our house was torn up. There was none. And we certainly weren't going to do what they did to our toilet. But then they said, oh, well, if you would have just called us, we would have authorized another night. And I said, really? I called you 7 times that night. And I called you in the middle of the night, and nobody could make that happen. And you're telling us that we are valued to you because Tim was an officer in the military and we're such good customers. Well, apparently we're not such good customers because you did not value us, but we did value you at that time. We don't now.